Impacts of geographical discoveries. Now let's very quickly see this. Economically, what happened? There had been a shift to Atlantic, right? The trade centers, they moved from Venice and Genoa now to Lisbon, Seville, Antwerp, Amsterdam and London. Is it clear? Shift from Mediterranean to the Atlantic paths. Global trade networks, they tied the Europe, Africa, Asia and Americans together, and for the first time we had seen a combined integrated world economy, right? In America, we had also seen price revolution, and it is said that American Revolution caused European inflation. It has financed the monarchies and the war. Apart from this, we also saw it was not in America, it was America's silver which was used in European nation. We had seen coming up of joint stock companies and modern finances such as Bank of England that came up in England, right? Because now they had to spread their whole process of industrialism. Ultimately, we will notice after this. So we will see that with coming of this, we are going to notice that there is going to be accelerated capitalism. New commodities, okay, this was the question. New commodities, first of all, sugar, tobacco, coffee, cocoa, all these are going to be exploded in your Caribbean or the Brazil. Economically is clear. Politically, what do we notice by this time? We notice that the colonial empires over here. First we see starting of French and Portugal, but majorly it is American, French and the Dutch Empire which we notice. We have seen that naval arms race had grown. There had been a growth of centralized monarchies. There had been decline Italian city-states by this time, because the trade now it is passed on from Mediterranean to the Atlantic breakthrough. We studied that, right? What were the changes in the social and the demographic part? Now, it has led to catastrophe for the indigenous people. It is said that diseases which had never reached America by coming of the people from outside had led to smallpox, measles and influenzas, devastating the populations in America. We had also seen transatlantic slave trade, right? What happens that approximately 12 million Africans, they were forcibly transported. There was a basically establishment of a triangular trade, right? What was happening? That slaves were taken from America to America from Africa, and sugar and silver from America had been taken to the parts of Europe, and manufacturing parts or the whole the units had been taken to Africa. So there was this whole triangular trade which had been going on and sustaining the social, which had led to intermixing and cross-cultural exchange. You can see cultural mixing of these people together, Dominicans, Jesuits, right? Now, what about the scientific and the geographical discoveries? By this time, we had seen that world mapping had started, which led to accurate coastline. We had seen wind currents. We had seen improved astronomy. We have seen navigation by practice at the sea. We had also noticed over here the word which is Columbian exchange. So what happened to America and Africa? We noticed that it is maize, potato, tomato, chili, cocoa, tobacco, cassava, peanut, pineapple. All this had been part of exchange, right? All this had been coming up specifically from Portugal to the older parts of the world. This is known as your Columbian exchange. Now let's see over here very quickly, because of this, what are Indian specific outcomes? Now understand that the whole sea route, right? The whole sea route to India, it reduced the Arab and Egyptian intermediaries, and it has led to shift in Indian Ocean balance. Now the European markets could very easily interact with the Indian markets over here. Is it clear? We had also seen that Portuguese, they came to India and they started their settlements, fortification in Goa in 1510. In Daman and Diu, they occupied the parts. In Malacca, we had seen Carta system, forts, and we had seen also in the pepper control. By 17th century, we had seen that first it was Dutch who came, then it was English, East India Company who came here, then it was French who came and who settled, and European rivalry on the Indian coast later had laid the ground for colonial rule in India. Is it clear? We had just discussed this European rivalry above between France and Britain. Okay. Now, I've picked up some probable question, although from this part, UPSC has yet not asked the question. But just see this, just as Renaissance, what is Renaissance? Rebirth, mundane approach to life, rational approach, critical thinking, and Age of Discovery. Okay, this has reshaped Europeans' engagement with the worldwide. Now compare it with 21st century digital revolution and globalization as transforming the global order today. Compare the historical process of Europe's transformation between 14th to 16th century. Basically, this is the question, with your contemporary global transformation which had been happening. So, what did we study in the first class? That with the fall of European Empire, we had also noticed that Dark Ages had evolved, and we also noticed over here that it was followed up by Renaissance and Age of Discoveries, right? So if you have to compare, then see this: political and social transformation, fragmentation and feudalism. We had already seen that how the whole society fall of one centralized authority. I discussed in the first lecture, please, you see that the whole land had been divided into lord vassal relationship, and it had been completely parceled out from here, right? And it gave rise to the concept of feudalism, where the local lords provided protection in return for the service. Now this had led to decentralization in Europe. We also see with coming of feudal age, there had been a rise of authority of the church. And it is said that later what happened, that we had seen by end of this, formation of nation states had come up. Now these played a crucial role in financing the exploration, the spirit of inquiry. Is it clear? Now, we had also noticed over here that the cultural and the intellectual shifts over here have been of scholasticism, and universities, they were established. So it had led to nurturing of intellectual inquiry, and the thinkers here are Thomas Aquinas, and he had attempted to reconcile the reason with faith. We had also seen over here contact with the Islamic world, because the crusaders and traders, they were exposed, they had exposed the European culture and to Greek and the Arabic works in science, medicine and philosophy to vice versa, each other culture. We had also seen by coming up of 14th century a Black Death, right, which had led to growth of new ideas, right, which had stopped immediately the spread of feudalism. So basically,